Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a really wild story that just popped up. It's about this leaked Signal group chat, but it's not just any chat. It's reportedly senior Trump folks, and they're talking about a planned hit on Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Yeah, right off the bat, that sounds a little out there.
And here's the kicker. Jeffrey Goldberg, the guy running The Atlantic, he's in this chat too.
Hey.
I mean, the Signal, that's supposed to be for, top secret stuff. You don't expect to see a journalist just hanging out in there.
Definitely raises some eyebrows.
Yeah.
How did he get in there? What were they even talking about with him listening?
That's exactly what we're going to dig into today. Goldberg, he says this Houthi PC Small Group just materialized on his Signal app back around March 11th. And right there, in those first few messages, they're basically saying a strike is going down about 2 hours after they hit send. So in this deep dive, we're going to break it all down. What went down in this digital room? What made it blow up in the news? What are the different sides of this? And, what could this all mean in the long run?
First things first, how did this whole thing even become public? Well, Goldberg, he spills the beans in an article. He names some names, big ones like Mike Waltz, Pete Hegseth, that crew. Then Trump himself, in an interview, he confirms it. Says a staffer from Waltz's office is the one who added Goldberg to the Signal chat.
But Trump, he kind of brushes it off. Says Goldberg being there, it didn't change a thing about the Yemen operation. But come on, even if that's true, our reporter sitting in on these super secret chats, that's got to be a red flag, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Goldberg, in his article, he dropped some bombshells about what went down. He specifically remembers a text, right, from Pete Hegseth. And Hegseth says, quote, "The first detonations in Yemen would be felt at 1:45 p.m. Eastern time," end quote.
Wow.
Goldberg waits. Then, boom, news reports start popping up about explosions in Sana'a, right around 1:55 p.m. Eastern time. Connect the dots. It looks pretty clear that what they were talking about on Signal, that was the military action happening in real time.
It's ripped straight from a movie. You got a journalist just chilling, suddenly thrown into a live chat about a military strike, and he's watching it all go down on the news. No wonder this thing exploded.
Absolutely. Having a media guy in what should be a lockdown channel, I mean, that's sensitive stuff, So the blowback was huge, especially from Democrats. They wanted Hegseth and Waltz gone, resigned, out of there. Some even said they should be hauled in front of Congress to explain themselves.
So what did the Trump administration do? Did they just sit there and take it?
Nah. Trump, he jumps in to defend Mike Waltz, does it in a few interviews. He admits, yeah, adding Goldberg was a mistake, but he keeps saying Waltz is a good man. Says Waltz isn't going anywhere, not getting fired or anything. Trump also downplays the whole Signal thing, tries to say there was nothing important in those messages.
Right, it was just small talks.
Yeah, they were just chatting about the weather or something.
I saw that the White House communications director, Stephen Chung, he went on X, the old Twitter, and just dismissed the whole thing, called it tired gameplay coming from what he called the NatSec establishment community. Even compared it to, remember the whole Russia thing? Trying to make it seem like, oh, this is just the usual political hit job.
Classic move. Make it all about politics, deflect the real issue.
Exactly. And Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, she jumped on X too. Flat out said, quote, "No war plans were discussed in that Signal group." And, quote, "No classified material was sent to the thread," end quote. Even brought up that the White House counsel's office, they gave guidance on how to use these secure platforms the right way.
Trying to show they were following the rules.
Yep. And Leavitt, she doubles down, talking about Trump's, quote, "strong and decisive leadership and how those Houthi strikes, they were a total success." Basically saying, look, who cares about a little chat mishap? The mission was a win.
Right. Focus on the outcome, not the process.
Exactly. And when Trump and Waltz got grilled about whether someone snuck into that Signal chat, Waltz said their tech and legal teams are on it. Says nobody on the national security team would ever leak sensitive info, put anyone in danger. But then he cleverly shifts gears, starts bragging about all the wins the administration's had, like hostages freed, big moves in the Middle East, Europe,
Smart tactic. Change the subject. Highlight the good stuff.
Totally. But still, the big question remains, was it even right to use this kind of chat for talking about such serious stuff? What about security? That's a whole other can of worms.
And that can of worms, it's opened up in court now. American oversight, they're all about government transparency. They filed a lawsuit. Their whole argument is did using Signal for military planning, did that break federal record-keeping laws?
Yeah.
Like, are you supposed to be documenting this stuff officially, not just chatting about it on an app?
So they're basically saying these talks should have been recorded, filed away the proper way, not just happening in a disappearing message app.
Exactly. And get this, they got a court order. Judge James Boasberg, he's a U.S. district judge, and he told everyone in that Signal chat, save all those messages from March 11th to March 15th, got to hand them over. Gives the court time to figure out what really happened.
But wait, didn't Trump have something to say about this judge too?
Oh, he did. Trump went public, accused Judge Boasberg of, being obsessed with him, saying Boasberg was appropriating all the Trump cases. But Boasberg, he addressed it head-on in court. He said, nope, this case landed on my desk randomly through the court system, a computer system, electronic cards, the whole 9 yards. No picking and choosing. That's not how we do things here.
Interesting. And wasn't there something earlier this year, Boasberg and the Trump administration butting heads over those deportation flights to El Salvador? I seem to remember some drama about the administration not handing over info that the court wanted.
Oh, yeah, there totally was. And get this, the Justice Department pulled out the big guns. They used that state secrets privilege thing, basically the government saying, nope, can't share that info. It'll put national security at risk. And to top it off, the Trump team, they were going to appeal a ruling on those deportation flights all the way to the Supreme Court. So yeah, there's definitely some history there. Boasberg and the Trump folks, they've tangled before.
Okay, so let's rewind. We've got this crazy situation, leaked Signal chat, Trump officials talking about a military operation, a journalist right there with him. Trump's team denies any wrongdoing, says everything's cool. Then, bam, lawsuit questioning if it was even legal to use that app for such serious business. And the judge in charge, he's already had run-ins with the same administration.
It's a whole mess. On one hand, you've got valid concerns about security, how we handle classified info, the protocol for national security stuff. Should they be using these apps where messages disappear? What about transparency, knowing who's talking to who? But on the other hand, you've got the Trump team saying, relax, it's no big deal, we got the job done. They're calling it a political attack, trying to sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, both sides have their points.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it leaves you with something big to think about. What does this whole episode say about national security these days? What about the media getting access to these super secret conversations? And we can't ignore the fact that digital communication, it's everywhere now, even in politics. How does that change things? And maybe the biggest question, what happens next? How will the government handle sensitive information in the future? This whole thing, it really makes you think.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon to deep dive into another story.
See you next time.